交易者听起来很酷，没盈利又什么都不是。K 线之间，你屡败屡战，却屡战屡败，浑然不知是眼界输了。金钱永不眠，方向不止一边。电波刺穿圈层，声音勾画伦敦。这一刻，为你推开金融城的交易门。
Hello， 大家好，我是 Richard， 欢迎大家来到伦敦交易者节目。我希望通过这一档节目，大家在交易上有所收获。这一期呢，我们会请到的嘉宾是 Shlaes， 他曾经在这个行业当中摸爬滚打了将近40年的时间，特别是他曾经是作为一个 floor trader 工作了将近20-30年，然后后面转型成为交易所的董事，一直做到交易所的副主席这样的一个非常高的职位。他是 GHCO 这一家非常著名的美国的私营交易公司的主管。那他同时也帮助了将近200号交易员，包括在我们这次采访当中也会采访到的一些首席交易员，都是从 Mark 手下一步一步成长起来的，所以他非常的有经验，也希望大家能通过这一次的访谈收获到你想要收获的交易方面的知识。好，那我们废话不多说，先邀请我们的 Mark 到我们的访谈间。
Hi Mark, welcome to our show. And first we start with quick ask and answer.
Okay. You need both. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. I was reflected in my P&L every day. Spread trading. It was a job. To me, Warren Buffett.
So we saw a lot in Wall Street films about trading. The pit is crowded and every trader is shouting around very loudly. Is that real? So everyone is shouting to use the hand signal to trade, right?
It was very real. When I was on the floor of the Board of Trade, the biggest pit was the bond pit.
Yeah.
And there were 750 people in the bond pit when it was most active. And so you might be 100 feet away from somebody that you're trading with. It all had to be hand signals. Everybody, the big traders had clerks. So the clerks would go check with the other people's clerks to make sure that the trades were good. But there were times where I'd make a trade with somebody and my clerk would go and he'd come back and he'd say he made that trade with somebody else. It had been a guy that was right over my shoulder and I didn't see what was going on behind me, but I thought he made the trade with me. So you worked that out. You adjusted your position based on that, or you compensated one another if it was a mistake between two people.
A lot of people say that exchanges are greedy, and you used to be vice chairman or vice president of CBOT. What do you think of the role of the exchange in the market?
Well, when I was vice chairman of the exchange, the exchange was a member organization. So the member owned the exchange. Now, that was good for the members, not necessarily good for the market, because it was for the benefit of the members. When the exchanges demutualized, where they bought out the membership and became public corporations or public companies, like the CME or the Eurex exchange, once they became publicly owned, now they had to do things for the benefit of their stockholders. Where now on the screen, it just goes to the first bid offer. And so I think that in some ways it's much fairer. I think that the exchange the responsibility of the exchange should be to put out products. There's a need for hedging or there's a need for trading these products. I think that they need to supervise their markets and make sure that everything, that nobody's got has a disadvantage. Every customer has the same exposure. They also need to make money at the same time for this.
CME recently launched a micro contract, like micro S&P 500, E-mini S&P 500. And I know CME will launch renminbi-dominated gold futures or USD-dominated gold futures on the Shanghai Gold Exchange. Is there anything you can share with us in the process of internationalization of the CME?
exchange was always looking for an edge. They were looking for a competitive edge. They wanted to trade the most contracts of any exchange in the world. And so we were constantly going after other exchange products. The Treasury market was one of the few real successes that the Board of Trade had as an exchange, because what they did is they took what was a cash market that was 8 ticks wide, in some cases 16 ticks wide, made a futures market that was only 1 tick wide. And so they made it much more competitive. The Life Exchange in London was very successful trading the German yield curve. And the German government said, we're not going to let that trade off. We're not going to let that trade in London. We want it to trade from Germany. It's our country and our product. So they created an environment where they actually brought traders from the US and from London into Germany to make bets, and they took the market back from the Life Exchange. So this is constantly going on. And what I think the success of exchanges in trading some of these products is, it seems to me that they trade best in the country's hours, so that if you're trading Shanghai gold, you want to trade during Chinese hours. That's when most people are up.
Yeah.
That the banks are open. That's when the news is the best.
During past 40 years, maybe, you have experienced many financial crises. So I think such as dot-com bubble or 9/11 or the financial crisis in 2008. So which one is most unforgettable or forgettable for you? I mean,
The most unforgettable time for me was actually the Black Monday, October 19th, 1987. It started in, the crash started in Hong Kong and expanded west. And the Dow on that day dropped 508 points. But that was the largest single drop as a percentage, because in 1987, the Dow was only trading at 2,500 and not 25,000. So it was a 23% drop in one day. And what the reason it was unforgettable for me is because I was trading treasuries, and the treasury market will often signal or understand something's going to happen before it happens in the equity markets. And 3 weeks before, I had my worst 2 days ever in my whole life on the trading floor, because of something that happened in the bonds. I had a very large position on 10 years versus 30 years, and I got caught, and that cost me a great deal of money. So I won't forget that period.
someone said like humans always repeat mistakes. And so has the trading world changed? So I mean, is there another financial crisis will happen in the next few years?
Yeah, we're going to always see crises. When we had when the Great Recession started in 2007, because that's about the memory of the market. The market seems to forget after 7 to 10 years, maybe half a generation. You know, we've got subprime debt in automobiles. In the West, it's going to be that could be a problem. You've got all kinds of issues with globally, economically. You've got tariffs, wars, and all this stuff has happened before. It's a recurring theme.
What has changed in the trading industry over the past decade? Since the financial crisis, are people becoming more risk averse?
That take place with the banks, with the large hedge funds, is government regulation, particularly since 2007, has caused them to make cutbacks. The banks a lot of the banks have gotten out of proprietary trading. As you say, have gone into passive investment and back to money lending. You know, Goldman Sachs has cut down their proprietary group. You know, a lot of these firms have headed out of the trading business. On the one hand, it takes something out of the market. On the other hand, it increases opportunity for individual traders to pick up the slack.
What is your main trading product right now?
What I trade is primarily is the NOB, which is the note over bond, and I trade the FIGHT, which is the 5-year, 10-year Treasury spread. What I'm trading is the yield curve. So as the yield curve changes, taking a position, either it's going to be flattening or steepening. That's basically what I'm trading. Now, the exchange on these spreads discount the positions. If you're trading a calendar spread, it's significantly cheaper than trading outright. You can trade a 10-year calendar spread for I think it's under $700. And so the 10-year might be a $2,000 for the outrights. So you can trade, three spreads basically for the same, three or four spreads really for the price of one outright.
What is the spread?
Yeah. So a spread is a simultaneous purchase and sale of two markets, and they should be correlated. Should be some relationship. You could trade a calendar spread, and the July is the end of the season, so you're using up storage. You could trade, let's say, July corn against December corn because you think there's going to be a big harvest, and they're going to sell the December. So if you're buying the spread, you're buying the July and selling the December, looking for the spread to widen, for the July to improve. If I'm trading gold against silver, I'm trading a relationship.
And I think the trading logic is still the same as on the floor. So I will pay more attention to like auction theory or market profile. What do you think about this?
I think that that's absolutely right to a degree. I think what's happened is because of high frequency trading, because of the algos, what they've taken away is that bid offer. Where when I was on the trading floor and I was in the bond pit, I used to be able to buy it at 5 and sell it at 6. And now as an individual trader, I can't compete with the high frequency traders on the 5 bid at 6. They're going to be there before me. So I have to be 5 bid at 10 and take a larger risk. The auction theory still works. It's just you have to broaden out your auction a little bit.
As you said, high frequency trading dominates the stock market and maybe futures market. So as retail investors, how should we adjust the auction theory to adapt to high frequency trading?
Yeah, I think that you design your strategy for longer term. In other words, if you want to compete head on with the high frequency traders, do what they're doing, I'll tell you that I know people that work for some of the largest firms that do this. And I know that this isn't Goldman Sachs, but their firm spent $100 billion last year on high-frequency trading, on developing trading systems. They have 120,000 square feet of office space. 80,000 square feet of their office space is used for development. So you're not going to compete with that as an individual trader. It's just very difficult. So where you have to compete is the wider market. And the other thing is that the high-frequency traders don't compete well in volatile markets because they pull orders. If it gets too thin or too volatile, they're out of the market. So it's another reason why you expand your markets.
Some individual traders, they will carry their orders or they adjusting stop. And what advice do you give to individual traders?
It depends on the market that I'm trading and what's going on in the market. A lot of times when I get into a position, I won't put everything on at the same price. And I won't get out at the same price. Especially with the spreads, I'm not perfect. If I see what I think is going to be a high, I might have some orders up there, but I might have some orders in front of it just because a lot of times the market will go to a high on a chart or where you feel that see some resistance and you're not going to get filled. So I might, if I'm looking to put 10 contracts on at a position, I might put on 5 at the price below the top and 5 on at the top. And coming out of it, I may take half off at a certain price and leave half to run, and then I'll use a trailing stop. It depends. There are some times where I think this is my absolute profit point, and unless something changes in the market, unless something changes dramatically that makes me change my opinion of the market, I won't touch this stock.
A trader can now make consistency profit, but he only trade like certain products or gold or Euro FX, I don't know, stock index. So do you think it's necessary for him to develop his strategy more complex?
Yeah, let me start from when I was as a trader. I started trading in the corn pit, and I was told by somebody who was very successful in the business is to learn how to spread. So I did that, and I was successful, and I traded there for a couple of years, and then the trade started to get a little bit just wasn't there. And so I went to the wheat pit, which was having a much more interesting year. Wheat crop wasn't as good as it had been, and so there was more opportunity. And then when the wheat trade dried up, a year and a half later, I went over to the soybean oil pit, from there to the soybean meal pit, and then I moved to the financial room. And then, so what happened was over a period of time is the opportunity went away in one market. I found another market. And you understand the principles. It's not just spreading, but it's trading or reading flow. However you're doing it, if you have the ability in one market, it's just a matter of changing your the rhythm. Each market has its own rhythm. So if you go from the corn pit to the gold pit, it's going to be move in different ways. And so it's understanding, being able to read the flow, understanding the fundamentals, and then applying those. I think that's a necessity, being able to adapt. I think that different styles of trading, whether besides the spreading of like corn wheat or silver gold or corn, I also did arbitrage. Traded 30 Dow stocks, the equities, the actual cash equities versus the Dow futures. I did 5-year Treasury futures against the cash. So I was able to always find new opportunities. And I think that when we started to train traders in New York, we taught how to scalp the yield curve like I did on the trading floor, and I do now.
We know that you set up the OFA with another guy. Why set up this OFA Traders Education Service or website?
Well, one of the things that I always enjoyed, even when I was on the trading floor, was talking to younger traders. There were people that were very good to me when I came down on the trading floor and shared information with me and pointed me in the right direction. And so I always felt good about being able to talk to new traders when there was time and to point out things to them that might help their trading as well. I coached my son when he played baseball, and he was 10 or 11 years old, and I always enjoyed that. So the teaching to me and mentoring and helping people grow in the business, I thought was a great opportunity, and if we could make money from it, terrific.
And what kind of person you think can be a trader?
We're looking for people that could multitask, people who are adjusting or can adjust to changing markets, and also people who can deal with losing.
And you have trained largest institution in the industry, such as GHCO, OSTC. And what do you think are the stage of the trader growth?
You know, I saw people come down on the trading floor, and I would say that the younger you were, the better. I think that if you were in your 20s and started on the trading floor, you had a better chance than if you were in your late 40s, 50s on the trading floor, and they were too old to change habits. And so those people would come and go. I think for a new trader, we were very short term in our trading. And I think that we were only, even all the work that we did with traders, I think that we were only 25% successful with traders. But part of it was because we had a very short term orientation. And if people weren't making money in 6 months, they were gone. There were traders that I know that if we had kept for 2 years, they would have done well over time. There were other traders that might have taken 3 years.
Can you give us a specific example?
We had traders that were capable that would make, in New York, we had 4 traders that would make $1.5 million a year trading, relatively for a prop group that was pretty good trader.
Yeah.
We weren't like a bank. We weren't putting up multi-millions. I think the whole firm supported by $15 million. So to have 3 traders make $4.5 million between the 3 of them was a nice return on investment.
And you said if some people can be a trader, so maybe he can do the multitasking things. So what interests or hobbies can help with trading? Well,
I think it's what's good for traders is to have different interests. If I was in the gym for an hour, I was focused on the gym. I didn't have to think about trading, whether it's practice or whether it's taking in a lot of information, about what your body's doing, that type of thing. So I think that it's anything that can improve your focus. To sit and read trading books all day, I don't think is great. I think for some people, it helps them develop a system or a style. But I think for the most part, you're talking about digging and pulling things from within you to practice, to watch, to learn from watching. There's a lot of sports analogies there. You don't necessarily have to play a sport as long as you understand what it takes, what an athlete goes through. Or it could be, like I said, the chess team. Somebody at a high level of chess is just as disciplined and as focused.
In fact, in the trading process, some traders will have mood swing trade, or many traders will face psychological problems. How do you help the traders to solve the psychological problem?
Yeah, there are a couple of ways. We had a trading psychologist. This was in 2003, 2004, a psychologist who had some experience with traders and would take emails from traders or would visit the offices from time to time. That was necessary, what his traders are going through. So I knew what every trader's situation was in terms of their family, what was going on. If I didn't know, I wanted to know if they were having a fight with their spouse, if they bought a car, if they bought a new house. These are all things, traders would buy a new car, spend $50,000 and suddenly have the need to make a lot of money in one day. That what was going through their mind. So if we knew that somebody had bought a new car, we would watch him and make sure that he wasn't upping his risk in order to take advantage of.
That's interesting. This effectively to help the traders who can get more consistency performance.
Right, and it just, again, sometimes traders, because of that loneliness, even in a trading room, you need somebody to talk to. You need somebody to, the traders, the mentality is so macho with the men traders. It's so male in the way that they deal with things, is they don't want to all the time share when they're going through a bad time with other traders around them. So they might need somebody, it could be me or it could be a psychologist that says, you can come in the office, close the door, and let's talk about it. And they're more willing to open up with somebody else than they are to tell the trader next to them that they're having a bad day.
That's very good, because I'm always thinking about, because I run a small group and trader team, and sometimes when trader is suffering from a bad day, because you can see from his face, so he don't want to talk. The face he told me, never touch me or never talk to me. I want to stay here. I want to look at the market. So that's interesting. So I can ask him to come to the meeting room, just talk to me, everything. And I know you got a bad day, but it doesn't matter, because today is past day, next day is a new day. So you just talk about what do you think about it, or anything happened in your lifetime besides the trading.
Yes, and I would tell traders the same, what you just said. I would say, celebrate your successes for the moment, mourn your losses. If you want to think about it for a little bit, I had a bad day, and let's think about what caused it, and then let it go. Next day is a new day.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot. I think that's it I need to ask. Thanks a lot to share your opinions or your trading experience with the Chinese traders. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
hope,
大家看过我们和 Mark 的这个对话之后呢，应该相信他是一个非常智慧的交易者。那他在我们这个视频当中呢，有讲到了一个拍卖理论，也就是市场一定会遵循拍卖理论的一个方向去运行，也就是价格过低总会有人买涨啊，价格过高就没有更多的人去买涨了。所以这就是一个拍卖理论的一个雏形。如果你还不是很了解拍卖理论的话，希望大家可以自己去学习一下。那还有呢，就是他是告诉了我们，是高频交易那些公司花了很多的钱再去做这些策略，所以呢，作为一个普通的机构交易者或者是散户交易者，你是很难与高频交易者去竞争这个市场的。那唯一的方法是我们通过一些技术手段去识别他们，跟踪他们，找到一些交易机会。交易心理如何去辅导如何跟他们去谈心，那这是一个心理辅导上面很重要的一点。那好，这就是我们这一期的内容。那下一期呢，我们做一个预告，我们会采访 James 他是一个非常资深的交易员，他现在有一个45人左右的伦敦交易团队他是这个公司的交易主管。 那他也是有20年在 Live， 他在以前做场内交易员，那他有非常丰富的经验。那他会跟我们分享更多他公司现在的一些操作策略，因为他每天还在做交易，在现在的市场当中运用哪些操作逻辑，运用哪些策略可以去赚钱。那机构和散户的一些差异点，他使用哪些工具，他使用哪些如何去交易一些新闻事件，比如说 ECB 的利率决议，怎么去做这些特殊的行情。那这是我们会在下期的节目当中给大家带来。那希望大家关注我们下期的节目。